So speaking of Boston, as we record this, it isn't official yet, but I'm assuming because teams that go down 0-3 or 0-155 in the NBA playoffs, that we've got a Dallas-Boston NBA final to talk about, and it's a fascinating pairing.
I love it. Just the backstory on it. I get everybody's going to be on sort of watching Luka hopefully get a championship. But does anybody look?
Hopefully, is that like?
Well, we'll wait and see what happens.
What happened to objectivity?
Well, he's not 100%. Everybody knows it. That knee, that ankle, and all that other stuff that goes along with it. That being said, the Kyrie Irving story in this is the only thing that interests me. I said it before. I said it last week for Boston. I don't want to hear any excuses. This is your championship to go get. You look amazing against the Pacers. You look well-rested. Obviously, you're waiting there for whoever it might be, the Timberwolves. It looks like it's not going to be them. It's going to be the Mavericks. But at any rate, this is going to be a great story because that was like a cup of coffee he had in Boston, and it went awry.
I mean, I would say it was more like a cup of coffee, man. He was a legitimate piece of that team for 2-3 years, right? I mean, he was. Like, he gave a speech saying he was going to retire as a Boston Celtic.
Well, you don't build up that kind of hatred in a cup of coffee. That was 2 years.
He stepped on Lucky's face.
But it's not even remembered. I mean, you go back to the Nets series, the Nets sort of fiasco before you even go there.
I think you are underestimating the pettiness of Boston fans, period.
Thank you.
I mean, by the way, you know how much I hate everyone in Boston. That being said, I mean, look, I think it's well-deserved. I think what the hate for Kyrie Irving is well-deserved. You come in, you promise the world, you say you're going to retire there, you bail, you then for some reason decide to make it personal, and we all know the history of Boston fans with stuff like that, but, I mean, it was an unforced error on Kyrie's part. How this series ends against Boston for Kyrie Irving will determine his legacy forever. If he does not win his championship, he becomes a footnote and a Robin to LeBron's Batman. If he does win a championship this season, he has now vanquished a second team that told him, we don't need you anymore. We don't want you anymore. You're too much of a liability. And he will have been what? He's undefeated in closeout. Well, no, excuse me. Not after the other night. Go on, I'm rambling. I'm sorry.
But I think all the pressure is on the green team. All the pressure.
Yes.
Because of what you said. And because this has just been so hard. You know, it's been a gradual progression for the team that started when Kyrie was there, who played with Brown and Tatum. That's where it all began. And it's been a steady kind of progression. Man, if they don't finish it, I don't know what they do next.
I'll give you a second note. Porzingis going against the Mavericks. I mean, that's going to be sort of a second line here. Remember, he has not played in these playoffs due to injury. So we'll wait and see what the finals. And he has gotten a lot of time to rest.
I think Boston could beat Dallas without Porzingis. I think they could lose to Dallas with Porzingis. Yeah. The series could go either way, and the only thing I really feel is like Boston's going to win 2 of these games by 20 more points. Otherwise, everything's on the table.
I'm actually concerned about Porzingis coming back with the rotation that they have and the way that they play. Now, remember, you're taking on a West Coast team. It looks like it's going to be the Mavericks, but the West Coast teams that might be beaten up a little bit themselves. It's turned into this sort of war of attrition. So it's going to be interesting with Porzingis back in, how that rotation will work, because the rotation they have right now with the way Jaylen Brown is playing, Tatum, I mean, my goodness, with White, they look unbeatable.
Yeah. It's such a depth. I mean, watching Dallas, I'd say the complementary pieces to those other 2 guys, you can't depend on any of them.
And that's just it, right? Like, what you've been seeing all playoffs long is that experience has been beating talent every single series. I think Boston's more talented. Boston has way more playoff experience. I mean, this is old hat for them, right? You were supposed to be in the finals compared to, I mean, Dallas has a couple of nice runs in the past, but outside of Kyrie, again, having someone to play with, he doesn't go deep. Like, I think Boston, you're right, it's theirs to win. I think they do win this thing. And I think Boston might be more dominant than you want to believe.
You kind of, yeah, I think people have been inventing narratives, but
I just invented that one. How was that?
Not bad.
Okay, thank you.
Not bad.
Thank you.
Nothing you do is really bad.
Obviously.